morning, it's Steph from Soul Sparks, and I'm here today with Astrology Beginners Part 5. So just to review so far, parts 1 to 4, what is a birth chart? That's where we've already covered. So you are here at part 5. If you have not yet gone to part 1 to 4, I encourage you to do so you can understand what's happening. So when we left off, we had this as our birth chart so far in terms of learning, okay? The MC, public facing, AC, beginning, descendant, relationships, IC, the real you, okay? And now we're gonna do something. Don't panic. Every one of these sections, this is math, guys, is 90 degrees, okay? How do we know that? Well, because we know that the whole circle is 360 divided by 4 equals 90 degrees. So every section here, which this is part of the inner, right? And that's the outer. Okay, but every section here is actually split into 3. So it turns out that we have 12 spots on this circle, okay? So what is the method that I employ? Well, everything I've just explained to you, this 3 segments being 90 degrees, means that every house equals a zodiac sign. Hey, we're switching locations because we had to, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so let's review where we were. 360 degrees of a circle can be divided into 4 parts, which are each equal to 90 degrees. Okay, within that 90 degree segment, we actually have that split further into 3. Okay, there's 3 zodiac signs in every one of these 90 degree segments, which means that every house is equal to 30 degrees exactly. But Steph, my chart doesn't look like that. It's not equal at all. Don't freak out, okay? I understand. And that is because you are using the default system of Placidius. That is the most recent sort of way of interpreting charts, so it's what everything defaults to. What I just explained is the whole house system, okay? This came prior. It's actually in 2000 BC, the Babylonians created it. However, both of these systems are both equally accurate. Okay, just in terms of if you have a sun in Cancer, you will have a sun in Cancer in either of these. All this part is doing, hope you guys are staying with me, is ensuring that every house is an equal value. So why am I not using the default is the next most obvious question. Well, I believe that the easiest entry point to astrology, a gateway, so to speak, for me to teach you and for you to learn is the whole house system, where every single house is equal to 1 zodiac sign. So this is the whole chart system, right? Where every single one of these houses is 30 degrees. What might happen in your chart or in any kind of Placidius chart is this could be like here, that could be there, and you could end up with like 1 1/4 equals, say, 1 zodiac sign plus 1/4 of another. Now, brings me to another point. Astrology is a language of symbolism. So, some of these concepts, just when you're learning them, they're gonna feel a little matrixy. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but like, it's hard to articulate in language, some of these concepts. So if I tried to then take you in this way through Placidius, it would be so complex and just Confucius to try to explain to you, first of all, what this is, let alone this 1/4. and then the influence of that versus this and what's more superior and blah, blah, blah. It's, I mean, that's like step 1000 and we're on step 5. Okay? So the easiest entry point to astrology that is no less accurate, whole sign houses. That's what I teach. That's what I use. It's no less accurate. I can't emphasize this enough. Okay? Now, so it's a whole house model, but what system am I using? Because traditionally, the way that I would explain this is to break this up into seasons. Okay? Because there are 12 months in a year. There are 3 months per every season. There are 4 seasons, right? But that was limiting and it wasn't going to apply to everybody. So what I'm trying to do, because like there's people on here, like you're from South Africa, there's people from Asia, and I have read those charts using my method that I employ, and we haven't had any issues in terms of relevance or resonating, right? So I know this method works. The method that I use is called psychology astrology. Now, the basic thing you need to understand about that method is that A, it's a language of symbolism. B, it's going to come back to that inner outer section that we talked about. And it uses the birth chart to show things that you were naturally sort of inclined to react to feel a certain way about, and so on and so forth. The thing is it's not saying that you're like permanently stuck in that, into what you were born into. Because the idea is when we learn about it, then we maybe start to question it and we grow. So astrology psychology is, I wouldn't say it's well known in astrology, but it's certainly well researched, accredited, and everything. So that is the method I use. But because astrology is a language of symbolism, I do feel like there is a certain amount of intuition involved. So my method is kind of this hybrid of whole houses, psychological astrology, and kind of this intuitive understanding of energies, because we're speaking in the language of energies. So here you go. I wrote it all out, okay? My method is all of these things, and that all comes down to the fact that one house equals one zodiac sign. Okay, there are 12 zodiac signs, which equals the 360 degrees of your birth chart where all zodiac signs are involved. I hope that makes sense. Please ask questions if you need to. The only other thing I need to explain to you right in this moment is that, so the first house always starts on the ascendant. Okay, so this is number 1. It's always going to start on the ascendant. Here's where it comes down to the order of zodiac signs. I know this is a brand new concept, and I don't want you to freak out. Think of this like a sticker roll that has 12 stickers, and they're all in the exact same pattern, right? So when I cut where you were born, it might land on Libra and not Aries, which means that Libra would be your ascendant, and you would start with Libra. Okay? However, Libra is never going to be in a different order than it always is. So Libra is always going to be between Virgo and Scorpio. Aries is always going to be between Taurus and Pisces, right? But it depends on where I'm going to cut that as to where your personal birth chart begins. So I hope that all made sense. Going forward, we have this really cool method. This was all like housekeeping stuff that we have to do that you have to understand because we're building blocks. But going forward, the method that I'm going to use, I'm just going to tell you now, we're going to start with Mars, which seems so out there. And then we're going to go to Aries because it rules Mars. And then we're going to talk about the first house because that's something you'll notice about astrology. It does that. Okay, we repeat things. There's patterns there that are going to help us to learn. So that's what we're going to use moving forward. That's the style. So the next lesson will actually be on Mars. So I'm pretty excited about this method. And let me know if you have any questions at all or if I can help in any way. But yeah, guys, let's do this together.